What's going on, everybody? I wanted to talk about the Greeny take. A lot of people are talking about it, how Greeny said that the Detroit Lions window's already closed, and he was talking about the Green Bay Packers. I know a lot of people talked about it, and I haven't really had a chance to give you all my thoughts on this one. So that's what this video is going to be about. Talk about the Mike Greeny and are the Detroit Lions done? Is it over for the Detroit Lions? Did they pass their window already? So that's going to be the topic of today's conversation. Before we do that, though, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10,000. Very, very close. With your help, it can happen. Let's get this thing started. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get into this Greeny thing here. And if you don't know, Greeny, he's a SportsCenter guy, Mike Green, and he has a good show. A lot of people listen to it and watch it in the mornings. Used to be Mike and Mike in the morning, but now he's kind of by himself with some other people that are around him. Not obviously the other Mike anymore, but he's talking about how the Detroit Lions window is past and Green Bay is the best team in the NFC North. Look, I get it. You had the one-year wonder. Maybe people think that the Detroit Lions were a one-year wonder. And I understand that from if you didn't understand how to build a roster or any of that. If you're just a person looking at the Lions who doesn't really know the team like we do as the fans or content creators who cover it every day, all of us, every single one you can think of, the fans, we're more entrenched in our football team than somebody like Mike Greeny. And let's keep it 100. The reason, I dropped something. The reason that this is the case is because we're locked in and the national media is not locked in. They don't understand our team as well as we do. They're not in it every day. They're not looking at the roster moves. They're just talking faces. Now, first off, I know a lot of people was destroying him for this. He has a right to an opinion just like anybody else. Doesn't mean it's correct, but he has a right to opinion. In all honesty, he's not like he's some negative Nancy or anything like that. So to me, like I'm not hating on him for it. I think he's just misinformed because in all honesty, he's actually a pretty good host in the morning. I mean, I watch the clips when I watch the clips later through YouTube that he's talked. And I want to really discuss this topic here. So, first off, he's misinformed 100%. The Detroit Lions window is not over. It's just began. I think that we were even ahead of schedule last year than where I thought we would be. I thought this year would be the year that we would make the kind of run that we did last year. But, we drafted so well, it pushed us up. Why? First off, the Green Bay Packers are a good team, and I'm not gonna destroy them because I think they're building it the correct way. I remember when they drafted Jordan Love, I was upset and everybody was cheering. They said that was a terrible wasted pick. I said, no, it's not. He's going to sit there and learn behind Aaron Rodgers after a couple years. Then he'll be playing. That's exactly what happened. And he's a pretty good quarterback, especially from the second half of the season. So we got to give credit to the Green Bay Packers. Their defense is really sound, and they got a good offense. They're a good team. They are. I'm not gonna lie and tell you they're not a good team, but I do believe the Detroit Lions are better. And I think the Lions may have the best roster in the NFL, and I do agree with Sam Monson from PFF on that. When you just go and break it down, you're like, oh my God, look at the Detroit Lions. First off, I think both coaching staffs for Green Bay is really good. LaFleur, he's a good coach, and I think that Dan Campbell's a good coach. So coaching, in all honesty, I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I think they have different styles, and they're both good coaches. Now let's go down to the roster of each team. Jordan Love, we'll go to the quarterback. Jordan Love, Jared Goff. Who is the better quarterback? I'm going to have to say Jared Goff here. And he has proven it by taking a team to a Super Bowl, taking the NFC Championship for the Detroit Lions. In the span that he's been traded, he's done phenomenal work here in Detroit. He's a top 5 quarterback in every statistical category, and you can go ahead and put it to Ben Johnson, wherever you want to put that attention to. The fact of the matter, Casey's doing it, so he gets credit for it. So I do think that Jared Goff is better than Jordan Love. Not by much, though. I think Jordan Love's pretty good, and he's actually a very mobile and can get out of the pocket, something that we're going to have to deal with for years. Now, he's not Aaron Rodgers. I do not believe that. I just think he's a good quarterback. I think he's really good. I think he's a top 15 quarterback. If you could put Jared Goff, I think, look, if you go by stats, he's top 5, right? But I think they're both good. Jared Goff's a little bit better, in my opinion. Let's look at the offensive line. Clearly, the Lions got the best offensive line, not just in the NFC North, but in football. I think they're number 1. They lost Bakhtiari over there for the Green Bay Packers. They got a good offensive line, but it's not as good as the Detroit Lions. Lions' offensive line is better. Look at the running game. The Detroit Lions got the best running backs. They do. We got the best running back room. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery is better than their newly acquired running back. And actually, Aaron Jones left them, and they still got Dilliard over there. They got a good running back room. They do. But it's not as good as the Detroit Lions. Lions got the best running back room in the NFL. Wide receivers, they actually got some good wide receiver. Christian, Watkins, and Romeo Doubs are good receivers. Not 100% proven, though. I would take the Lions wide receivers right now proven over them because Watkins is always injured. St. Brown, Jamison Williams, and Khalif Raymond. That's a really good 1, 2, 3. Khalif Raymond is the most underrated player on this football team. That they got a good receiver core. So I think they're pretty close to the Detroit Lions and the receiver. So all in all, if you got basically same talented coaching staff, the Lions got the better offense. Special teams, Lions got the better special teams. That's where the Packers have had issues with. It's not that big of a deal, but Lions do got the better special teams. Now we go defensively. Green Bay's got the better defense. Has the better defense, got the better corners. I think they got a pretty good defensive line. I think they got some good linebackers. So I don't understand how immediately you just take Green Bay and you put them ahead of the Detroit Lions. I think it's just like the Ric Flair thing, and I say it all the time, and it's true. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Before we were the NFC North champions, it was the Vikings, and we had to beat them to be the man. That's the way it is, and we have done that. The Lions' window is not closing. It is just beginning, because if you look how they've built this roster, it is through the draft. It really is, and Brad Holmes continues to knock out every single draft, so since I've been watching Brad Holmes draft now for 3 years, it has been amazing 3 years of drafting. Do you suggest that they're going to do good this year or are going to start to plateau? No, I think they're going to continue to do great because Brad Holmes can evaluate talent, and they got some great scouts to help them out. They know exactly who they want to get. They have a plan. I think the Lions window is going to be open for a long time, folks. I think the Detroit Lions are built for sustained success. We're talking many years. Many years. Because when you consistently draft well, you replace the ones that leave, and you're still a damn good football team. The Lions have done that. Their window is not closing. It is just beginning. Now, I do understand that it is extremely tough to get to the position that we did last year, NFC Championship, and even tougher to get to a Super Bowl. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, I could see a situation where we split with Green Bay, right? I think that's very possible. They're a good team. I think you could split potentially even with Chicago. It's not going to be easy, but the Lions' window is not closed. Even if the Lions just make a wild card, do you think the Lions can go on the road and win games? Yeah, I do. I think they can. They proved it the San Francisco game. They just screwed up with about 1/4 of that. But they've traveled. They can travel out and beat teams because they're physical. So they're a team that can win you at home. They're a team that can win on the road. They're a running football team. Their offense is extremely dynamic, and their defense is slow and get built up. How is their window closing? It is just beginning. Now, if we had a bunch of players that are all old, right, I would actually agree, right? If our players were all like 34, 30s, like every single one in our draftee wasn't that great, I can agree with that. Something like we did when we had Matt Millen, or not Matt Millen, but when we had Mayhew and Bob Quinn, there was some success, but the window just kept closed. I thought it was closed with Matthew Stafford before we traded him. So we did the rebuild to start it back up. That's just generally how the NFL works. And Green Bay is in the same situation like the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to continue to draft well, so they're going to be a good team. It doesn't mean that the window is closed. Even if the Lions don't win the NFC North here, I don't think anybody who actually understands roster building and integral how the National Football League works would suggest that the window's over. Because we didn't get the highest prized free agents. We've talked about this endlessly on this channel and on my personal channel, that you don't build a team through free agency. You build through the draft and you supplement free agency. And they supplemented well. They have been doing that. Now, last free agency period was a bust. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he only played, a handful of games? Emmanuel Mosley out. Cam Sutton got a warrant for his arrest. So, yeah, it was a bust there, but the draft was not a bust. So you got to just continue to draft your players. Free agency, small, keep drafting players. That's how you build your team. That's why I don't even care. I'm happy they got the Zeitler, and I love the DJ Reader and what they did with some acquisitions in free agency, but it is nothing to how you build a team through the draft. I give it 20% of rest, 80% for the draft. That's how much the draft is more important. That's why we're good. And it's not going to stop. We're not going to stop being good because we can draft. So Greeny is incorrect in that statement. This team's going to be good. I'm not saying we're going to win or dominate and be NFC North champions for the next 20 years. That's not realistic. But the team is going to be good. It's not going to be a Matt Millen team. It's not going to be Millen-Hugh. It's not going to be a bum team like we've had for many years. They have talent. They're going to win football games, and I think they're going to be a team now like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the Baltimore Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers, where they're consistently good year in and year out. The Detroit Lions is going to be added to those teams like Green Bay is, just like the Lions are. So the Lions are a good team. They're going to be good for a long time, and he's incorrect there. And I'm excited for the future of this team. I know you guys are all excited. So he's incorrect. The Lions are going to be good for a long time. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, though. I want to see, do you agree with me? What is your thoughts on his words that he's saying? With that said, folks, adios.